Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Debating for America's Youth. Today, I'm interviewing an awesome guest. Today, I'm interviewing Rachel Eizner, who is the 2020 NSDA National Champion and House Congressional Debate. Welcome, Rachel.
Hi, thanks for having me.
It's my pleasure. So obviously, you won the national tournament. Can you kind of walk people through how you stand out in a Congress chamber, especially the final round with a lot of different, amazing competitors?
Yeah, so personally, I feel like the way I tend to stand out is by bringing my personality into my speeches. I meet a lot of debaters on the circuit, and they're great people. Their personalities are awesome, and the way I see them succeed is by bringing that personality they have out of round and they have just in general into their speeches, because it makes it like it's not just like, oh, a high school student is giving a speech. It becomes this person that's bringing their personality into the round. You want to speak to them, you want to listen to them, because you see that passion that they have and you see that uniqueness and personality that they have. So I feel like really bringing who you are into the round and using that to just elevate your speeches and your questions really helps you stand out.
That completely makes sense. And when you're researching for these bills, especially for the national tournament where you have a whole docket you need to prep on, how do you prep all of those bills and find the time, I guess, or use your time effectively to do all of that research?
So I feel like when it comes to preparation, I tend to do this a lot too, but I used to push all of my bills to the last week. And I feel like just giving yourself time to think about the bills, spacing it out, giving yourself a schedule so that you can actually prep efficiently instead of having to cram everything into the last night is what I find most effective. Just give yourself time to think about the subjects, because they're all really nuanced topics. You can't research them in 30 minutes and call it a day. So giving yourself time to think about it, to understand the argumentation, to understand the topic, I feel like is the most effective thing for time.
Yeah, that makes sense. And I'll say for me, at least when I'm researching for bills, what I'll do is I'll go on a walk and read the bills, because when I'm walking, I can think more efficiently. So it gives me time to kind of think about what the bill is saying and maybe some potential arguments for that bill.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense. So do you have speaking nerves when you get up and speak in front of groups of people, or even on the online virtual setting?
Oh, all the time, especially as a freshman and a sophomore. I didn't go to many circuit tournaments. So when I would walk into the only big ones I went to was TOC and Nat. So when I walked in and I saw these people that had established names and established careers, I was scared out of my mind. And I find the only way I was able to really calm myself down and, figure out how to get over these nerves is by recognizing we're all high school students. We're all the same age. Nobody works for the Council on Foreign Relations. Nobody helps make policy in Iran and Iraq. Everybody has the same well, not everybody for the most part, has done the research. It's just who brings the best arguments to the table. But nobody is an idol. Nobody is a god in the round.
That makes sense. How do you kind of, I guess, structure your speeches for the round? Is there a certain structure you like to use, or do you like to base it off of the speech you're just kind of writing when you write your speech?
So I feel like the most important thing in congressional debate is adhering to when you're speaking in the round. And it's kind of cheesy. We hear it a lot, but I feel like the best way to do so is to come in with arguments and contentions and just listen to the flow of the round and fit yourself into the round instead of trying to fit your contentions into the flow of the debate. Because, at the end of the day, while you may have researched this awesome topic or this awesome contention, it's a debate and you want to follow through with the debate. So understand the timing of when you're speaking and understand the arguments that are mainly dominating the round and how you can fit yourself into that flow.
That completely makes sense. What's your practice look like for congressional debate? When you're not at a tournament, are you doing a mock debate with other people? Are you just giving speeches to yourself? How does your practice schedule look?
So during the school year, I know it's often hard. It was at least hard for me to find time out of my day to practice. So what I would do is, it takes me 20 minutes to get to school. On the drive there and back, I would be practicing contentions I could remember from my research that I did the night before. I had a 30-minute drive twice a week. That that got me in 2 hours every week that I got to practice, contentions and debating. I feel like for practice, the most important thing for me was not necessarily like practice to reinforce what I know about the topic, but mainly just to gain confidence that I know what I'm talking about, and just being able to recite what I know or recite the contentions I have so far is mainly what I did to build up that confidence I needed and to practice for the tournament.
That makes sense. Do you have any advice for a novice who's just getting started in congressional debate and maybe doesn't really know what's going on in debate?
Yeah. Don't be scared of other people. We in debate, we like to hype people up a lot. Don't be scared. Nobody's a god. Nobody's an idol. Your voice is really important and your ideas are really important. And just keeping that in the back of your mind and understanding the more you practice, the more you compete, the better you will get. Just keep on fighting, keep on practicing, and you'll get the results that you were looking for if your intentions are good.
That completely makes sense. And then the final question in this interview is, do you have a message for the speech and debate community? I mean, I've seen your really powerful Instagram post, but for anyone who's watching this interview right now, is your time just to kind of spread the message you want to spread to the people watching this interview?
Yeah, so in round, we advocate a lot for racial equality, racial diversity, religious diversity, equality for all. We need to bring this same advocacy we have in round outside of round, because at the end of the day, all we're doing is a high school debate with judges, and it's just a round that next week it won't matter. But the knowledge we have and the people we use to impact in these rounds are still, the problems still occur. So bring the same advocacy you have in round out of it and help empower people in communities that you're using to impact in your speeches, and solve the problems you advocate for when you pass or you negate the bill in round.
That completely makes sense. Yeah, I think that like, especially those groups, it's really easy to talk about the low income groups or the minority groups in the speech. And I'll even say myself, I've used those groups to kind of do well competitively, but I would completely agree with what you're saying. If you do nothing outside a round, what you're saying is meaningless. And if you're just trying to win a trophy or win a tournament, it kind of like, I guess, negates everything you're trying to argue in the round. So I think that, especially as debaters, we like have been practicing using our voice and like speaking up about issues. So I think we should speak up as a community for real issues happening and not just talk about them in a congressional debate round or in a Lincoln Douglas round. Like, actually bring those out of the debate room and into the real world. I completely agree.
Yeah, exactly.
Perfect. Well, I want to thank you so much for coming on and doing this interview, and thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you.